Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. It's Larry Benedict, joined by Eric Shamilov. Good morning, all, on a midweek morning. Markets looked a little skittish on my ride to work this morning. The SPU was actually down seven handles, a big down morning. But they reversed that, and somehow the market is green. It's weird. Today you can buy Nvidia probably and sell Apple, or get out of Apple and buy Nvidia, or flippity flop. And I was thinking, it's funny. Nvidia's high on this move was over 195. It was probably 197. I don't have it in front of me, but I was definitely trading it, and I know I had the 195 calls, and I know they were in the money. So, that stock is down almost 10% during this continued up move in Nasdaq to an all-time high, and it's because they basically bought other things and Apple. So today I saw Apple was down a little bit and Nvidia is down small, but overall probably will rally to hold the market up somehow. um, it's weird. It's just part of the algo. Earnings last night from Netflix were, you know, just not good. Stock was down. Same thing with Texas Instruments. Thought it would have a bigger effect on the Nasdaq, but it doesn't. The Nasdaq is now being drawn up by the S&P going higher. So, what
Good
is?
morning. So here's the Netflix earnings revenue surprises. I thought this was a very interesting chart where Netflix price tends to follow its revenue surprises really well, more so than a lot of other big name companies. So what you see here is when revenue surprises to the upside, do not short the stock. But when it's the reverse, it could have a lot of problems. And last four quarters, it's had revenue surprises, but at a decreasing rate. And first time in about 2 years, that revenue surprise was to the downside. And the growth story, it's been trying to expand uh, globally, and I think now there's a question mark whether analysts have gone all in a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're my Netflix guru. Um, so
I've been wrong on Netflix for about 3 years. So
awesome, bro. Never sell, dude. There was never a spot in 3 years to ever put it out. Just keep staying long, dude. It's all good.
oh, I don't want to be long Netflix. I think Netflix should drop way down, but that's just me.
All right. Well, listen. This morning, uh, gold had a wild trading night overnight. It was down 100, went green on the day, back down 100. Now it's coming back a little bit, but I feel like I'm like 120 points from my down 500 before up 500. Even though you said we made a wager at 4,500 that it was going to go to 5,000 before 3,000. No one would make that wager. 500 points versus 1,500 points, but either way, I think gold is a lesson for people out there that are extremely complacent, and the U.S. stock market is certainly the place that I'm looking at massive complacency. And we had a freak out. Think about it. We had a freak out for 1 week, and the market went down 2%, and then came right back up and is right back to where it was. 2%. We're already in gold on almost a 10% correction in 2 days. Okay. It was down six yesterday, and it was down over basically one and a half. So you're in an 8% correction already in 2 days. Like, our market, if it fell off, if the US stock market did what gold did yesterday, this place would blow. I'm telling you, blow up. I know you don't believe it. The amount of options traded, the amount of gamma in options, meaning like people sell out of the money puts. Like, I have friends They have strategies. They sell naked puts all day, all night, every day, and you know their their big excuse, I would say, is they say, "Oh well, if it doesn't work out, I'll take delivery of the stock. I don't mind owning it there." But the truth is, no one really wants to own it there. They want to take the free money for the puts. So there's a lot of that out there. There's a lot of option speculation. There's so much stuff going on. I got to it late in the podcast, but they're coming out with 5x leveraged products all over the board on every high flying stock. I mean, who, let me ask you a question. Other than casino gamblers, who needs 5x leverage? Like, I don't understand. Like, why do you need 5x? Just buy the position 5 times bigger in your brokerage account or whatever. But they're allowing you to do this with inherent leverage of the stock. So you don't even have to, you instantly get 5 times the leverage without even putting up any money. So I think it's very, very interesting. So I would, I would say that. Um, I was looking to buy a little gold this morning. Somehow the guy behind me, we couldn't do it, so we missed it. And gold is, you know, gold is going to just pop around today. I do think lower. Okay, I don't like the action, but in a bull market, especially a market like this, you get really good trading opportunities on the upside when the market is still broken, and this market is wounded, and potentially if we have another leg down where we're in correction territory at 10, which is just traditionally a 10% correction, gold may not trade that high again for years and years. I know you can't believe it, but because you think it's going to 20,000, 50,000, going there for absolutely no reason. You still can't figure out why. I don't like trading something literally that now I like trading it because it's kind of broken. Volatility is up and it's moving back and forth. And for traders out there, you know, I would say it's yesterday wasn't forgiving, but overall it becomes a little bit forgiving, meaning like you could buy it, be wrong for 25 gold points, which, up until the last couple of days was a decent sized move. As we stated during the entire bull run of this year, the gold only closed up 2% like 3 times in the entire year. So it's been a very slow, up 50 points a day, every single day for no reason. But now the market's a little forgiving. So I like this. I am not really looking at US equities as much today. I want to be trading gold. I want to be punting around or trading around in gold because I think the overall trend is broken. Okay. But when you have like the first big down day and then another down day, which is what you kind of want, maybe you can dip your toe in the water for a trade. Not like you, where you're going to hold Netflix for 3 years. I'm talking about a trade that's going to last 3 hours or 2 hours. But I definitely
Mhm.
there's lower to go in gold. I think the longs are bad. I think a lot of what we've been talking about has been very prevalent. And yesterday, I don't know if you saw, and you talked a little bit on the podcast, which I couldn't even believe was a reality, was they were going to get out of gold and buy Bitcoin. And you actually saw people doing that. And it didn't make
Yeah,
any sense to me. Eric, it didn't make sense. You're getting blown out in
makes
gold. How do you have the money to buy Bitcoin? You want to go from one crazy asset to another? I mean, and these guys that bought Bitcoin yesterday as a hedge just got wrecked because Bitcoin is going to bust down the low at like 107. I mean, if Bitcoin, you could wake up on Sunday night and Bitcoin could be below 100,000, which, to be honest with you, is not the biggest deal, but it is when 99% of the long base in Bitcoin has come at higher prices than where we are now. Now, the original guys, okay, or girls, or, whatever, that bought this, they're long it much, much lower. But there is an entire base of people that have bought Bitcoin starting a couple of years ago with the first ETF. that are barely up money. And we discussed this as well. This is an institutional asset now. This is not, the Wild West cowboys driving in their car with, a zip drive with $5 million of coins, or some guy throwing it out in the garbage in London and, trying to find it, trying to find $100 million that he put like, you know, two or whatever big coins, on it. This is an institutional asset, meaning that it's owned by everyone. Everybody and their mother owns Bitcoin. Do you disagree with that?
I think now, yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone and their mother. I
Every
know
investable,
your
every
mother trades
investable,
because she's
every,
a very smart lady,
she
but
is. She is.
I don't think everyone is in it yet, but it's growing.
Yet, when are they coming in? At 110? Like, you can't make, you understand, Bitcoin minted millionaires and billionaires off of no money. It was something that, 200 years from today or more will be written about. I don't know if it'll still be in existence, but will be written about in textbooks, even though they don't have textbooks. It'll be written about in some AI script somewhere, whatever we're going to be using, 200 years from today. And they're going to talk about how this thing rose from zero and got, people behind it, to buy it. And it was funny. I don't know why, because I think I'm talking about Bitcoin a lot. One of my feeds on, I don't know if it's Instagram or Facebook, I was on it, and you know who came up? Jamie Dimon on his original Bitcoin rant that it's not real and he doesn't care if it goes to 100. He literally used 100,000. He goes, I don't care if this thing goes to 100,000. It's not it's not real. And the truth is, and he said, he goes, you could be in it as long as there's someone willing to pay higher. But that's the US stock market. People are, I'm telling you, I had dinner last night with a money manager. Okay. They run decent sized assets. He's laughing about the market. He's like, this is a joke. He's like, this thing should blow, and he's got clients all over the place long, and he's trying to put collars on, and nobody wants to hedge. They don't want to sell. They don't want to hedge. And it's like, this is not like a spot where people are going out to dinner and going, we're level headed. The stock market looks like it's good value here. Um, let's go. And it's funny because every day in the market is something different. So there's someone probably watching the podcast who I traded with 25 years ago, who's a phenomenal trader, but he was looking at this correlation for a couple of days between Bitcoin and the S&P, and like Bitcoin was a little higher than this, and like he's like, if Bitcoin sells off, the S&P is going to sell off. Now Bitcoin sold off this morning, and it doesn't mean one thing to the S&P. But 3 days ago, like Wednesday of last week, it was like everything. Just keep Bitcoin on your screen. Da 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 da. Then that goes away. It's just what I'm worried about or what I'm thinking about, and it happened in gold when, I know I don't want to wake up the sleeping bear this morning, but I'm going to say something. Like when you came on the podcast and you're like, gold's going up no matter what, doesn't look at anything, it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying you're not right, but you're like, I'm like, Eric, how are you trading gold? I don't know, I'm just buying it, which is fine, and it worked, and now it can't work right now. But what I'm saying to you is, when something fundamentally moves for absolutely no reason, something doesn't make sense and it can break. And in gold, we saw it break yesterday. I mean, it went down 6% in a day. Now, listen, it could have gone down 10. People were calling me saying the limit was 10. It could have gone down 10. Easy. I don't know if the limit is 10, but that's what people were saying. Um, but that's what we call a mini crash. So gold had a little bit of a mini crash yesterday after, and it's still up 50% on the year. It was up 70% on the year at one point. Okay. So it's given back a quarter of the year in 2 trading days. And, you know, Right now, the S&P is closed for business. You might as well go home, come back tomorrow. There's no volatility. There's nothing going on. So that being said, you know,
So
I,
you
I
think the trend in you think this trend right here, this is a this is the trend in gold for the last 12 months. So you think this little 6% dip that we had yesterday that may have a lot to do with the fact that Diwali is over in India. There's a seasonality to it
well,
with
how come you
Diwali
didn't tell
in
us
India.
yesterday? I needed to know that before the opening yesterday.
I completely forgot about it until I saw it on an article. I'm like, oh yeah, Diwali. That's one thing.
I
And
have no
then,
idea what you're the best. I don't even know what that.
then you look at the, hold up a second. Let me just share
Go
some
ahead,
data.
go ahead, go ahead.
Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Um, there you go. GLD inflows last week, highest on record. So you have a couple of things there that look more technical than what you're saying regarding fundamentals. Like, do you think central banks are done buying gold? And if you do think that, then yeah, this trend is probably
I'm
over.
not understanding
As
why.
you said, it hasn't been reacting to anything that it was reacting to 3 years ago and before that. The last 2 years, gold hasn't looked at the dollar, hasn't looked at interest rates, hasn't looked at anything because there's some demand out there that's outside of that. So, do you think this trend is over?
Yes,
I
I do.
Yes.
Um, I think that
Okay.
this is, this is a problem. Listen, I'm not, like I said, I'm looking for a trade, down 100 or hopefully it goes there, down 100 to buy a little on a dip for a trade or a counter trend trade. But what I think is a decent strategy right now is to sell in a high volatility, sell upside call spreads. I haven't looked at them yet, but maybe selling 150, 200 gold points out of the money, because what's going to happen is if gold does stabilize, which is 100% possible, um, those spreads are going to come in even on an up move. So I want to look at vol here. I think there's going to be an interesting opportunity on gold to sell out of the money call spreads. I mean, unless you're of the camp that they're going to just wake up
No, I like
tomorrow.
that idea just from a pure trading perspective. I haven't even looked at those options. Do you know what they're trading at?
No,
I
I
mean,
haven't. You
personally,
could
I
you
would
could take a
also,
look.
I'd put in some put spreads on that because I actually kind of think maybe 4,000 holds here. But I could see even if it goes up, those calls kind of deteriorating. I kind of like that trade.
Oh, um, I don't, I like it. I got to look at it. I was not trading gold last night, but it was an unbelievable trade. I mean, unbelievable. That's all I will say. You know,
They
um,
flushed everybody out last night. Last night was funny. Gold was funny last night. As soon as the open here, take a look for everyone watching. We had the big down move in gold, and they flushed it out another 100 points right at the futures open, and then that got bought back up. I went to sleep a happy man. Wake up, it's right back down. So gold is a little funny here, but
I'm
I think it
shocked.
defends.
I'm shocked that you stay up every single night to trade, and last night you went to sleep. I,
I
I
went to
mean,
sleep.
I
It made
don't
its move,
understand it. I'm just telling you,
and
you had gold having its biggest point down day in history. You're a gold master, okay? And you went to sleep last night? I mean, literally the thing opened up 50, went down 150 from there, okay? Then rallied to green on the night and then sold off basically to the lows of the day. I mean, you're not gonna get a 400 point move intraday in gold again for a very long time. I mean, you missed one of the best trading nights of all time. I'm glad.
No, but I went to sleep right where it's narrow.
Hopefully you had good dreams. I don't know. I don't.
I had a great dream.
Okay, because
I had really good
I don't
dreams.
understand. You're like up all night. You're telling me you're up every night. Da da
No,
da.
last night,
Last night
see
you
where that
fell
arrow
asleep.
is? You see where that arrow is? That's when I went to sleep. And I went to sleep a happy man. And
Okay,
then this happened. But then this happened. And now
right,
we're here.
right. I'm just saying. So it's it's a little bit crazy out there, I'll say, but it's great trading. And you know what isn't great trading, and I don't know how 1 week in the market changed everything, Eric, everything. Last week, between reactions to BS Trump tweets or whatever, truth social posts, to now where nothing matters is insane. I mean, I'm telling you, the market can't, like last week's trading was amazing. I mean, my ETF came back because we've been short, we've been short the market. We came back, we had like almost double digit percentage gain on the week just on nothing, on a market that was basically flat. I mean, that's what we need. We need trading. Like today is a complete joke. Like it's over. You can see all they want to do is buy S&P. Nasdaq's being dragged along a little bit. The stocks are the big stocks underlying are not good. But what's weird today is like yesterday was kind of crystal clear. They were buying Dow out of the gate all day, right? And the S&P was whatever. Now they're buying S&P and not even buying Dow, which is a trade that we haven't seen. Usually when they buy S&P, they buy Dow more than the S&P. Now they're leaving Dow because they took Dow too much yesterday, and they're trying to jam up the S&P, you know, for whatever reason. And you saw it last night. I happened to be up in the middle of the night, and the S&P was up like 15, and then literally 3 minutes later it was down. So I'm not exactly sure.
I
Um,
like I like that trade for today. That's the trade I have on,
mhm,
Nasdaq S&P spread. The
yeah.
straddle today is kind of low. I mean, is it low? It's like at 30. We have a straddle at
I don't.
30.
I think that's actually high relative to the volatility is back down to 18. Okay, from 29. It's probably below 18 inherent. So I'm not exactly sure. What the deal is. Um,
Interesting. 30 points out, like a 67.60 by 67.70 10-point spread. So that one's trading at 250 right now. And 30
mhm.
points down at 6,700 strike, also a 10-point spread, is trading at $1. So the calls are, like, the call spread is more than two times what the put spread is, both 30 points out.
And that doesn't make any sense. That actually, it should work the opposite. Puts are always higher than, not always, obviously in this case they're not, but puts inherently are always more than calls. But this market is so skewed to the buy side. For I don't know what happened. I'd love to
That's actually
understand what's happened in the last week that's so good. Like, I was trading yesterday. I was trading Monday, I think, where he went to 155% tariffs, and the market was up. Market was up every day this week, but he went to 155 tariffs, right? And the market was up, going straight up a lot to a record high. Like, I'm not saying that's bad, that's whatever. No one believes it, but it's certainly not good. It's not positive news, but it's like the market doesn't care about anything. And we're in the position, I'm just telling you, we're in the position of gold. Like the same thing. They're just buying, they don't know why. They just keep going higher. And as long as they keep going higher and they're not busted, they can keep buying it. But I'm not understanding who is doing this. Like right now, I want you to know there's something funny. So all of the old analysts that blew everyone up in the internet are back. Okay, Dan Ives, um, the guy Dan Niles, who used to be at Robbie Stevens, who blew everyone to smithereens. They're all bulled out of their mind. And I saw Dan Niles. He was on, I think, on Monday. After we had the choppy week, and he goes, I'm telling you, this is what the guy said. He goes, I expect NASDAQ to make an all time high by Thanksgiving. Okay. 2 days later, the NASDAQ's at an all time high. Thanksgiving. What's he going to do? Come on. What's he going to say now? He said, I'm thinking the market's going to maybe hold here, be choppy, and then make a new high by Thanksgiving. And we made a new high in 2 days. So, like, I just think that the froth is being fueled by these same. It's funny. Listen, it's hard to resurrect yourself, okay, when you have such a bad. I guess you can do it. You can resurrect yourself. But it's 25 years later from the last time they blew people up. You haven't really heard much. I mean, Dan Niles is around a little bit, but he's not a prevalent guy. And now the guy's on Bloomberg every other day. Like, I feel like this is the same thing that happened in 2000 with usually, like, if they have a new movie, they may use the same script, but they bring in a new guy to play Batman or whatever. It's the same clowns that are here, that just have gray hair and whatever, that are the same guys. And I vision it going back to 2000, okay, that this is just the same thing, just revisited. And how how can they get away with it? Like, how is nobody calling out? Listen, CNBC has to have the clips from 1999, 2000, okay? Of these clowns coming on, talking about 500 different stocks that are no longer in existence and how bullish they are, but they'll never do that. They do that sometimes on other stations, where they'll show a news clip. Oh yeah, this was Joey in 2000. Look what he said. Like, why can't they roll the footage on Dan Ives? I mean, that would
Do you
be
think? Do you
hilarious.
think they actually? Do you think guys like that actually believe in what they're saying, or they're just completely opportunistic and profiting from the times?
Well, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not going to throw him under the bus. And he's a good friend of mine. We traded together. He was never really a trader per se, but we traded together at Spear Leads and Kellogg. And now he's one of the top analysts on the market. He's on TV all the time. Okay. When the market went down a week ago, okay, he's like out there saying, "Oh, the market's okay, the market's okay." He was long puts, okay, personally. So I don't know. He's out touting the market in long puts just in case. So I don't, the firms are told, these guys are told, I feel bad for him in a way. He's told by the firm to be bullish because the firm makes a lot more revenue when he's bullish. But I'm telling you, this guy is a major player. Okay.
Right, right.
And
That's the issue. That's the issue with all the sell side analysts. Their firms make money when they're bullish. Nobody makes money when they're bearish, and so they have this incentive to constantly, uh, present a bullish picture about everything in every single
but
scenario.
why? But why? That's the thing. I don't understand why. Like, I'm just I still can't get past the fact, and you're guilty of it too. Okay, I've kept you calm yesterday. I went right at you today. I've kept you calm through midway through the podcast, but you're the same. Honestly, swear to God.
I'm even worse. What are you talking?
No,
I'm
you're
even
not
worse.
worse, dude. You're not worse, but like Bitcoin, you're like, well, I kind of think it's going to go lower, but I'm looking for a buying opportunity. Well, if I think something's going lower, I'm selling the shit out of it. Okay. And then I might flip and buy it. You know what I'm saying? But like, you're not looking, for the short, which is fine. Listen, you're making money. I'm surprised you're not wearing. What'd you do with that gold chain? You freaking! I told you to get the other day when gold
Well,
was on the high.
gold's weak right now. I'm not going to wear a gold. I only wear
Exactly.
it
Take that gold.
when it's
Take that gold back. But
yeah.
what I'm saying to you is that's the mantra of the market. Okay, that's the mantra of what is in the market. It's just weird to me that you have so much option volume. Clint and I spoke when you were away, and he put up a chart record, maybe you did, record option volume. Okay, come on. I know with my subscribers, we teach them how to trade options. We show them it's a better way than trading the regular market. Okay. It defines your risk and it's the best thing out there. But people have been trained that options are really, really difficult, to understand. And the truth is, it's really easy to understand. And people now are trading more options than stock. If you put up the underlying notional value, okay, of option volume versus the stock, it dwarfs it. Dwarfs it. Okay. It dwarfs the stock volume. Because you got to add each one option is 100 shares. So if you add up the option volume in Nvidia today, it'll dwarf the equity volume. So that's what we're having here. And then you layer on top the advent of zero DTE, which is the greatest gambling tool ever invented. As you know, we trade them all the time, right? But we're trading them off what we believe is mispricing. Like you're telling me today that calls are higher than puts. I haven't checked that. I'm believing you. But if that's the case, how can the market go up? Because they're going to be so long that the market can't go up. So there's just a number of different things that we utilize on a daily trading basis. Like you're telling me that, I mean that's a negative thing. Like, listen, I know this happened for a fact. The put call volume in Nvidia when the stock spiked to 195, okay, was 50 times the size on calls than puts. That means 50 times the amount of calls were being bought than put. And guess what happened? The stock imploded. Okay. And what's funny about that is in the first 10 minutes of trading, 1 million calls traded. I mean, the numbers are so astronomical here that it's scary. And I'm worried. What I'm worried about is is the gold day. And I'm really worried about it. And the truth is, I'm bearish. I'm on the show. I'm just saying be cautious. I'm not telling you to do whatever, but I would be hedged. But I'll be honest, like if the crash happened right now or 5% correction or 3 in a day, I got to be honest with you, I'm not really set up, which is, something that I will be. And I can get in position very quickly, like that down 2.5% day on Friday. We weren't really that set up, but we sold so many call options that, we made a lot of money. We made a lot of money. So I will get set up. But right now, it's like ridiculous. I mean, it's amazing how I don't know what happened here. Maybe people were short so much volatility in the front end of the curve that they bought all these VIX options to hedge and to cover all their exposure. And literally, I'm telling you, on it's only a 2% move in S&P. The VIX is in half. I've been doing trading my whole life. And we didn't have a VIX index, but we definitely tracked volatility. That was the pricing of the options. Never seen a move like this to implode in half in 2 days. Okay. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if people were loaded down with a lot of VIX. I just know if the market on Friday morning opened down 100 SPU points, which is not a lot, it's not even 1.5%. Okay. So let's clarify. That's not even 1.5%. And VIX went up 7 points in one day off of a 1% down move, okay, in the market. So what's going to happen when let me ask you this. Do you think in your lifetime we're going to have a 10% natural correction in your
In one
life?
day, in one day, or just in
No,
general.
in general, ever. ever.
Come on, that's not a real. Of course we are. We're going
Of
to have a
course.
20
And
today.
and you know what? It's probably the first thing we agreed on in this whole week. Okay, so we both agree at some
Um,
point there's going to be a minimum of 10% correction. Okay, my question to you, and I know you don't like to answer my direct question, so I don't know. I'll kind of pose it in a way where you
well,
don't
it's because
really
you asked
have
like
to
five
answer it.
questions in one. In one sentence, there are five questions,
I'm gonna
and so
ask you. I'm
you
gonna
want to
ask
answer
you.
one of
I'm
those
gonna ask
questions.
you. I'm gonna ask you this question, and obviously it depends on how it happens, but if we have a 10% correction from where we are now in, I'm not going to say one day, let's say 1 week to 1.5 weeks at the most, which I don't think the market could handle, but let's say it does. Where do you think the VIX will be trading, the cash VIX? Just a question. Where do you think it's trading right now at 18? It
I think
traded
it's
up.
going to explode. Obviously,
It's going to what?
I think it's obviously going to explode. Probably
Well,
above
I'm
50.
saying I'm asking you a price. You don't have to be right. You could say 30, 40, 50,
No,
25.
I think higher. I think it'll break 50 pretty easily on a move like that within
You
a day.
really think so? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, obviously, if it happens in one day or over a 2-day period, maybe so. But I don't know where it will go. But what we saw is think about this: we saw a 1.5% correction, 1.5 at the most. And the day it really went up, the S&P was down 85 basis points and the Nasdaq was down 1.5%, and VIX went from 19 to 25 in one day. Okay, so something's going on, and you may be right. I don't think it'll go to 50, but I think it'll be significantly over 30. But the way the market reacted off this small down move to take VIX to 29.90 on a 2% correction
Well,
is
that's
so.
why I'm saying 50 because it was such a small down move and the VIX went up to 30. Why wouldn't you think it's going to hit
Well,
50?
it would. I think there's a lot of reasons. One, it's about positions. I think that people were short front month VIX. You saw what happened. You saw how the curve basically went inverted reverse, where the front month was 25 and the back months were 21. Before that, back months were 21 and the front month was 18. So what I think happened there, looking at that move, was people were net short. They were selling, and they're doing it again, which is shocking, selling the hell out of front month. Okay. They're selling the hell out of the front month VIX again, and they're going to get trapped again. But that's what happened. That's why it went up so much. And then what made it even scarier, Eric, which I'm not understanding, was options. And I pointed this out to you every day for 5 days. Options down 200 points, 250 points in S&P, which is a 5-7% correction, were like $5, $7. I mean, they were trying to buy whatever they could, and I'm wondering how does that end in one or two trading days? Literally. Like, I don't know.
Historically, when the historically actually historically when the VIX curve inverts, uh, the return, it's a great time to get into the market again. Historically,
Well, it works until it doesn't work. I mean, during
no,
COVID,
it could be
you
a matter
blew up.
of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but throughout history, whenever the VIX curve inverts, the bulls, that's the time to buy if you want to buy. At some point, it's going to last more than 2, 3 weeks, obviously. But I'm just saying, just playing. So, okay, so I asked you this question yesterday. You think there's going to be a crash at some
No,
point?
no, 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 no.
Okay,
I
a
do
big
not.
outsized down day.
I
Let's.
did, well, let me ask you this. Is a 4% down day a crash? Yes, but that's not a real crash. We
No,
used to
so
trade up. Well, here's the
I'm
thing,
looking at
Eric.
dates, right? I'm looking at dates. So we have Malaysia this week. Okay, Jameson Greer, who I'm actually going to probably see at the Economic Club at some point, and Scott Bessent are heading to Malaysia today. Today being Wednesday, but there's no definitive time. So it could be they're going to meet. There's no definitive time, and they're going to be there from October 23rd to October 25th. So up until Friday, I think, right? So that's one meeting. Then you have South Korea October 31st, November 1st. Potential Trump Xi bilateral on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Guangzhou. I hope I'm
Can I
pronouncing
ask
it.
you? Can I ask you an honest question? Literally,
I guess.
like,
Yes.
how are they going to parse out a trade deal in 2 days? We've already seen this motion over and over again, and you know what's going to come out? I'll give it to you. Ready? Great meetings. We're close to a trade deal. We have the how many times have they gone to Europe and said they have a framework for a trade deal? Every time. How about every time? There is no way, unless they're going to really truly be real, that they're going to come out and say that things aren't moving forward and they're going to have another meeting and Trump's going to push the can down the road another 3 months. And, you know, ironically, we talked a little yesterday. 1 year of Trump's presidency is out the door. Okay. He's done. 1 year is done. He's got 3 left. Okay. They got the midterms, which could throw things upside down potentially. Okay, she is waiting this out. I mean, he's actually a genius. Okay, a genius. He's slow playing this. You know what he's got. It is just unbelievable. He's just slow playing what's going on here. And whatever they do, my question, I'm going to throw it back at you. Do you think they can negotiate after 8 years a trade deal in 2 days? I'm just trying to understand a comprehensive trade deal in 2 days.
It's a good question. No, probably not the way you frame it. Um, but it's interesting. I'm going to pull up. I don't know. Should I run the Trump press conference yesterday when he was talking about the China meeting was actually to me disturbing, and I started to think maybe you're right because Trump. I could play the video here on the pod, but he sounded like he does not have the upper hand, and that's what you've been saying a lot, and like he just didn't like when he talks about Europe, he's like, I'm gonna kick their ass, you know? When he talks about like Vietnam, I'm gonna kick their ass. Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, I'm gonna kick their ass. But that press conference yesterday, he sounded like he may not, like they have the upper hand. And it just sounded I don't know, he maybe I'm reading it wrong, but he sounded a little bit weak. Like not weak, but like not confident that this thing is going to go through. Now, what I will share with you here, I don't know if this is meaningful or not, but the vol surface on SPX options is kind of crazy. Look at this. Look at this chart right here. This is the vol surface on those SPX options. Look at that. I mean, it's really skewed in both directions heavily. So the market is, I think they're pricing in a pretty big move into like early November. You could see how it's like sticking out here on the put and call side, more so actually on the puts for the next couple of weeks. So
Well,
I don't know what you make of that,
they
but
always have downside. They always have downside covered, but I don't know. I'm not making a lot of that. I think that, your vol surface last week looked a lot bigger than that, So
yeah.
I don't know. I just
But
know.
what's going to happen? What you're saying is going to happen, like, or what you're anticipating. Look,
I
I
don't
could see
even
that
know, to be
happening.
honest with you, Eric. I don't even know how it's going to happen, what's going to happen. I I just think that, like, even looking this morning in S&P, okay, it's back to the same trade that we had over and over and over again. After having a week of crazy trading to today, I walk in, S&P is down 3. Okay, we start the podcast, it's up $1, and then we're getting close to the opening, 15 minutes away, and it just goes up, 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 up. Small, like totally contained, small. Maneuvering the S&P not taking the Dow. The Dow has been down 11 for the last, the for the last, the Dow minis for the last hour. It hasn't moved. Okay. Nasdaq looked horrendous pre-open. It was down 80. It's now down 20. Um, and the big name stocks that reported last night are not good, and they're just going to buy. Listen, I haven't looked in the last 15 minutes or 20 minutes since I've been on the pod, um, but I'm sure Nvidia, it's up small. I'm sure they're taking one of the Mag 7 up. Okay, because they're leaving Apple down a
Google.
dollar.
It's Google. Yeah, it's Google. It's
So
Google.
right, it's something every day. I mean, it's just, but the thing is that, if you see the anatomy of a correction, gold is a really prime example of that. Like, they had it contained, Eric, until it wasn't. And listen, you traded gold yesterday and gold options. It became non-contained, meaning like they couldn't control it. The thing was moving down really fast. Now, yeah, they can manipulate, they could do whatever and try to jam the market up. But my question is, why do they need to jam the market up every day? Like, and it doesn't go up a lot. It'll go up 20 basis points, 40 basis points. When are we gonna
Well, they
have
only do it. They only do it because look. I mean, I know you say the algos are it's all a rig. Yeah, there's part of that, but they only do it because they know there's going to be demand backing them up. At the end of the day, it's supply demand. So they know there's demand backing them up on their
Eric,
manipulation.
there's demand. I agree. There's demand backing them up. Dude, it's exactly what Jamie Dimon said. I don't know why I'm getting these clips to my phone. It's crazy. He's like, listen, you can buy whatever you want. If there's someone dumber to buy it higher, you're fine. So what they do is they get it higher. Everybody feels fine. They continue to buy. Okay. And as long as they don't have a rug pull or a down move, everybody's okay until they're not. And that's the scary part of this market. Like I'll give you an example, and I'm not expecting or saying this is going to happen today, but let's say we open on the upside today and then we get weak and then we actually get a little bit of a sell-off. Okay, and we close nearer the lows and we open down
Mhm.
tomorrow. You know how many buyers you have? Zero. None. Not one. Not one. But up here, everyone, dude, this is the market of buy high, buy higher, and only sell if the broker calls you to liquidate your account. That's the market we have. So anyway, what's an interesting thing before we get close to wrapping, because we only have about 10 minutes before the opening. I want to really discuss a little bit. You talk about that dollar debasement trade and they're buying gold because they don't want to have dollar assets. But ironically, if you look at the dollar euro is at the dollar best level in months. It's at 115. It's still not good on the year, but it's at 115, high 115s. The yen is at 152. So the dollar is actually performing better here, which is interesting to me after having the trend go so far the other way. And I get dollar debasement or whatever. They don't want to be in US dollar assets, but gold is priced in USD. I mean, I'm sure you could price it in something else, but it's priced generally in USD. So you're buying USD anyway. So I mean, I don't understand the dollar
Okay,
debate.
so buy gold in euros. What's the difference? You're still going to
But
massively under.
I understand, but people buying
Yeah,
on the exchange are buying US dollars, okay?
right.
They're buying US dollars, cash US dollars. So anyway, that's the thing on gold. Gold is down like $70 on the day. If it gets down 100 and something, I'm going to look to buy a little on a dippy dap for, using a tight stop or use options.
I'm
Um,
already.
what?
I'm already long.
Oh, okay. Good luck. I don't know. I mean, I would not trade the futures. They're too risky. There's
Oh,
too
I'm sizing down. Yeah, the ranges are insane. So I'm expecting like my entry to maybe be wrong by 30 or 40 points. But
Right, but
I'm
that's why I'm saying this is a great trade because you could be down 30 and up 20 in literally 10 minutes.
exactly,
Just,
so the
so
smaller
that's
you are to take advantage of that, because if you start off a position small, like gold is going to probably move, yeah, like I said, like 30, 40 points against you, if easily. And then just, if you're really bullish, add a little bit there.
well,
You know, of
you hope it doesn't. You hope it doesn't. But
course you hope.
right. So, I would say, the interesting trade, which we've kind of been all over, is crude oil. Finally got the up move in crude.
Yeah.
It's now over $2 off the bottom. Interesting, the U.S. government
Now
basically.
you think the stocks are more interesting than the actual crude oil, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think the stocks are cheaper. They don't move as much. I mean, if you want to catch the move in oil, like if you were long, you have a dollar, you have $1.50 move in oil. That's a really good day on a $50 product. So that's good in itself. But I still like it here, maybe touching 60. So stay in that long. We didn't get on enough size because touchdown Tommy couldn't we couldn't get it done. We had the right idea. We made some money, but we had the right idea. Um, but so we touched on gold. Good trader, buy a dip, maybe trade out of it. Trend is broken there for sure. It's going to take a while to get it back intact, but it could have a wild swing. Bonds, we're talking 396 on the 10-year. Everybody is skewed long that market. They were short that market. Now they're all long that market. I don't think that the 10-year has much to go on the upside, even if we get a rate cut and even another one behind it. I don't see below 375 on the 10-year unless we're in a recession, which I've talked about a little bit. I don't want to get into that because I want to wrap this in 2 minutes. So right now, if you have a little guts, bonds are probably a short 10 years. U.S. equities, watch for the dislocation trade. I'm really leery. I know no one believes it could happen, and all these markets are linked. Like today, it's like buy S&P, drag up the Nasdaq. That trade may come off at 10 o'clock. Whenever the computer turns that trade off, just keep an eye on that. And like Nasdaq made an all-time high, and they want now the S&P to make an all-time high. So that's why they're doing this trade. And volatility is at extremely low levels. And again, all we need is one little correction to take advantage. So I'm pretty done. I don't know if you want to close on something, but we're like 5 minutes out. So I want everybody to be ready for the trading day. Watch for weakness, obviously. Headlines, etc. But they turn the headline risk off, so there's not a lot of headline risk right now.
Right, because there's going to probably be no headline about China today. They're meeting at earliest tomorrow in Malaysia. So maybe, I don't know, an iron condor kind of day today. It's kind of what I'm leaning on. I like the premium.
The Iron Condor has me very gray, dude. I am, I have a product LSP. We sell S&P put and call spreads. We've been as quiet as we've ever been in 7 years. It's too risky. It's just too risky. Markets wound too tight. Um, Anything can happen. And, obviously they've turned the vol off right now, but they could turn the vol back on in a heartbeat. But anyway, we're done here. I wish everyone luck trading. I hope we gave you good information today that you could utilize to make money in the market, and good luck trading. Enjoy.